Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1250 of What's She Up To Now, documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar world to the corporate world to the online world. Spent over a quarter century in corporate America, working for really some of the most amazing companies on the planet today. And then 47 years, it's mind-boggling to me to say 47 years running my own businesses, being a partner in different businesses and in different industries. And in 2017, I had the opportunity after my divorce to do something different. I was old enough to retire, but I didn't really want to retire. So I decided instead of retiring, I was going to explore something I'd always been curious about, and that was the internet, the online world, the World Wide Web, we used to call it. I don't know if anybody even calls it that anymore. I think everybody just calls it the internet, but I don't know what other people in other parts of the world call it. So I hopped online and have been trying and doing different things online for a couple of years now, and very grateful with 2020 and the pandemic and everything that I had made that jump and that change and that leap of faith. It wasn't really much of a leap of faith after doing offline businesses in a bunch of different industries for a year, but it was different. And so this is my spot to document my journey as I make that transition. And actually in 2021, I'm transitioning back into some more offline businesses. As we grow and mature and have different businesses, we add multiple streams of income. I know that's kind of a key phrase that people use a lot, but we actually do that. I've always found that a lot of my success in corporate America came from knowing that I always had a business on the side. I could always show up and be myself and actually take a lot more risks in corporate America and in my jobs for corporate because I always had businesses that I was running on the side to fall back on. There's a huge sense of security in knowing that you have more than one way to survive and pay the bills and make a living. And so in addition to just doing things online, although it's really, really fun and exciting and sometimes super duper frustrating, I want to be able to do a little bit of both. And I believe that 2020 has shown us, at least here in America, that we have become far too dependent on other nations and on the world as a whole globally to provide us with some of our basic needs. And that some of the manufacturing, which is my area of expertise, I absolutely love all types of manufacturing, we need to take some of that back and actually be recreating and being more dependent on ourselves than necessarily at the country. So that's part of why I want to hop back into the offline world a little bit and in some key areas. I think that we need to be more independent. We need to be able to take care of ourselves, all of us, in certain ways. And I think the pandemic has shown a huge flashlight on our supply chains, on our distribution systems, on our manufacturing and industries and areas that we need to shore up, and we need to make sure that we fill in the gaps that we've discovered during COVID-19. Now, that has to be discovered by uncovering and going underneath all of the news and the media and the politics and the crap that has been piled onto COVID, and look for what are the solutions to the gaps that we've found in our various systems. And they have nothing to do, this is my freedom of speech part, that was our idiom for supersize your business today. They have nothing to do with politics, power, religion, racism, nothing. So it's digging through all the noise that's being perpetrated and thrown at people and finding out, okay, what's really going on here? What's the root cause? And it isn't something that's been made up for political purposes. It's underneath all that, and it's usually systems and just processes and ways of doing things that people have gotten in the habit of doing without even thinking about. We have a problem, we solve the problem, we make a system to make that problem, that solution automatic, and then we don't ever go back and revisit that system and fix and make sure that that system that we created 20 years ago still makes sense for us. We do that as human beings as well as in businesses and in life and in organizations. We do the same thing. When we're young, we have an experience. We learn from that experience. We put something in place in our life to protect us so we never have that experience again. And 20 years later, when we're a totally different, more mature person, we are still living by those beliefs and which are processes and systems we put in place at a subconscious level to protect us, we're still using those filters to make decisions and choices, even though we're not the same person we were 20 years ago, or we're not the child we were 20 years ago when we had an experience that we don't even maybe remember. So, I guess I'm off on a tangent. Today, our idiom was freedom of speech. And freedom of speech, although we kind of think it's an American thing, guess what? With the First Amendment and all, it actually dates back to 5th century BC. 5th century BC. That's thousands and thousands of years ago. This came from actually Greece and a Greek word called parrhesia or something like that. I'm not Greek, obviously. Parrhesia, I think, meant freedom of speech. So the idea and the thought of freedom of speech has been around for centuries. Millennium. Are millenniums thousands of years? Anyway, it's been around a long time, a lot longer than the First Amendment rights. So we talked about in Supersize Your Business what is not covered by the First Amendment. Because there's a whole lot of nonsense that people are spewing that they think is covered by the First Amendment, but it actually isn't. So all of the defamation, lies, nonsense, misinformation, propaganda that's being perpetrated by our media companies, by social media, none of that is covered by free speech or freedom of speech in the First Amendment. Child pornography, crimes, anything that elicits crimes, intellectual property, that violates free speech, it's not covered by the First Amendment in the United States. So I thought it was really interesting to see the whole list of things that aren't covered. Anything like terrorism, not covered by freedom of speech. Obscenities are actually not covered by freedom of speech. And commercial comments like fraud or commercial claims like advertising are not covered by freedom of speech. They're covered and they fall under other laws and things, but they don't fall under, hey, it's freedom of speech, so I can say or claim anything I want, or I can incite a riot, or I can incite any other type of violence, or I can use it to I can use speech to communicate or to create an imminent crime, such as rioting. And none of that's covered by free speech. So some of our politicians who go on air and incite violence, and I'm talking about the George Floyd situation here in Minneapolis. We had some big time politicians that came to the area and literally incited riots and encouraged people to riot in the media, and the media covered that as if it was a good thing. That is not covered by free speech, and the fact that we're tolerating that as a nation is really, really pathetic and sad. Bullying, defamation of character, all of the nonsense and all the stuff that's going on in social media, the lies, the defamation, the bullying, the shutting people down for having an opinion that's different than yours, the censorship, all of that is illegal under our Constitution and is not covered by free speech. You don't have the right to hurt other people. You don't have the right to harm other people. You don't have the right to defame other people. You don't have the right to incite violence, create a crime, or encourage crime, encourage rioting, anything illegal, especially child pornography or any other violence. None of that is covered by freedom of speech. So I'm off on another tangent. Obviously, this is a biggie for me. I love living in America. I love the freedoms that I have been afforded my entire life and the opportunities that come along with that. So many of us put limits on ourselves because we don't realize and appreciate the amazing freedoms and opportunities that we have at our fingertips, each and every one of us. We end up focusing on the things that we don't have in our life, the things that are wrong, instead of the things that we can do. We need to focus on, I say this all the time to people, focus on what you can do, not on what you can't. If I didn't focus on what I could do, not on what I can't do, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd have a miserable life. But since I just ignore the stuff I can't do, or don't worry about it, or I put it aside and I just put it behind me, I have accomplished probably stuff that people think is absolutely amazing and impossible for me throughout my life, only because I didn't focus on what I couldn't do. I just built on what I can do, and I encourage you to do the same. Our idiom, actually, or not our idiom, our annual challenge this year to do one thing every day that centers you, talked about a wonderful life and not realizing sooner what an incredible, wonderful life we have. You know, we can go through life being miserable and negative and pessimistic, or we can go through life being happy, positive, and optimistic. it's the exact same life. Every life is the exact same. We can choose what we're going to focus on. All of our lives, mine included, have had a whole lot of crap go down in them. I've had a lot of bad things go on in my life. But I don't live there. I don't stay in those negative situations. I learn from them, and hopefully I don't repeat them. Some of them I've repeated, but I try not to. And I usually find a different way of repeating them in the lesson in a way that I didn't understand, and I didn't deeply understand the lesson in the first place, and that's why I need to keep repeating it. So there's plenty of mistakes to be had. There's plenty of things to stop us and stumble us, but it's all just a test to see if we're really serious about the things that we say that we want, the life that we want to create. Are we really serious about that or not? So I guess I'm off on a tangent today. I'm thinking a lot about our freedoms. It's America's birthday. It's just Canada Day. It's America's celebration of independence coming up here in a couple of days. And so this time of year, I like to reflect on all of the possibilities and all the freedoms that we have and all the opportunities, and just push to the side the reasons and the excuses that I think I can't or shouldn't do certain things. That's it. That is our update for today. It's a holiday week, lots of family coming into town for the holiday. So I am going to sign off. I wish you an absolutely amazing day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with another interesting idiom and with an update on what I'm doing as I transition from the brick and mortar world to the online world, and back and forth and back and forth. Things that work, things that don't work. And then, of course, I get to pontificate periodically on a topic that I see and observe and just kind of shake my head at. You know, I've never understood gangs and bullying and hurting other people, and why the rest of us tolerate it, because we don't have to look the other way. We don't have to tolerate it. And if we stop tolerating it, guess what? That behavior would disappear because it wouldn't be allowed. We just wouldn't accept it. It's like crime and all this other stuff. If we just said no and solved the problems that create that, we wouldn't, at the root cause of the problems, not the supposed cause of the problems. The root cause of the problems of a lot of things are people wanting a shortcut, people wanting an easy way, people wanting to cheat the system or not have to work, right? Isn't a lot of why people create crimes and do crimes and do illegal activities, because they don't want to have to earn things I call it the right way, earn things by working for them, earn things by creating value in the world. You can get what you want by destroying other people or building up other people. The choice is always yours. All right, have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm going to enjoy the weekend. I encourage you to do the same. My family and friends, have a great day.